How can you squeeze out as much quality out of your SUNO generation as possible? Hi, I'm Nikov. I'm the creator of Neural Analog, an AI-powered sound design platform. The goal of this website is to help you get the most out of your AI music generations. This video will help you if you generate music with AI and you are sick and tired of not being able to reach 100% of what you expect. You are at 80%, you have all the layout of the structure, but something is missing. In this video, I will show you how to use spectrograms to detect defects in your AI music, how we can use specialized models to restore high frequencies, how we can split stems and EQ them to make it sound better, and how to use Match EQ to shape the tone of your mastering. Stay until the end for a demo. Please know that this is a creative process. What I like and what works for this music may not be what ends up working for you, but I think these tools are kind of cool and I want to showcase them to you so that at least you know about them and you can use them when it's needed. Let's start. Let's take this song as an example. First, what I'm gonna do is to copy the link, paste it into Neural Analog, and this will import the music. You can import music from multiple AI music platforms. I encourage you to discover all of them. They all have slightly different models and slightly different strengths and weaknesses. Now, let's give a listen to this track. You hear the hi-hat tss, tss, get louder. You no longer hear the voice, you are just focused on the hi-hats. It also has some kind of cassette feeling, like retro, which suits the song in this particular situation. But if you want to release it on Spotify, on YouTube, this is going to be tiresome very fast. Now, this is what I personally hear, and you may hear something else, because everyone's hearing is a bit different. So let's measure it. In Neural Analog, you can click on Spectrogram to display the spectrogram of the song. These are all the frequencies that make up the music. You can click the drag handle. Here we can see that the music only goes up to 12,000, 30,000 Hertz. Humans can hear up to 20,000 Hertz, and CD quality is usually 22,000 Hertz. This is why it sounds retro. It's just measurably low quality. There are not any high frequencies. To enhance this music, you can select a restoration model on Neural Analog. We have many specialized models for different purposes, but usually it's best to start with the first one, the MP3 Music Restoration. MP3 Music Restoration is a specialized model that was trained by taking high quality music and then downgrading it to a low quality version. Then we train a model to regenerate the high quality version based on the low quality version. This is very similar to AI image upscaling. AI music models were trained on a lot of scrapped data from the internet, which usually means low quality MP3. So MP3 music restoration can work very well for them. We also feature different AI models that are more specialized in upscaling to 48,000 Hertz, which means improving quality even beyond CD quality. I encourage you to experiment and test all of these models to see what sound you like and what works for this music. For now, let's just select the first one and let's click on Start Restoration. This will take a moment because we need to load a GPU and then run inference of a large AI model on it. It has finished, and now here is the new spectrogram. If you compare with the original, you see that a lot of the high frequencies were regenerated. You can zoom by scrolling on this spectrogram, and you can see that the peaks in the high frequencies are not completely random. It's not just noise. They were generated using the low frequencies in order to match what's happening below. Let's give it a listen, and I will switch between original and restored version. If you have a good ear and you are not too old, you can hear the difference a little bit in the high end. Young people tend to hear these high frequencies more than old people. But I'm not quite satisfied with the results because at the end of the song we still have a lot of high frequencies, which creates a lot of harshness. In my opinion, the hi-hats are still too loud. Let's go to the tab Split Stems. You may be familiar with this. it lets you separate the track into multiple instruments. However, the models featured here are much higher quality than the default stem splitting on SUNO. What we can do is click here on original file and select our restored music as a source for stem splitting. Then I'm gonna go with the preset called 6 stems. We have the option to immediately run restoration on each of the generated stems. This can help you if you have a large catalog and you don't want to go into the details. However, for the sake of this video, we will restore stems ourselves and I will show you how. Let's click on extract stems and this is gonna take a minute as well. Okay, here we go. Here we have the bass. Let's work with the drums. To work only on a small section of the stem, I can select the region and it will loop the playback. Now let's play with all the stems together by unsoloing the drums. And I click play right here. To remove the loop, you can just click on the waveform anywhere. Thanks to stem splitting, I removed the harshness of the drums while maintaining clarity in all the other instruments. Let's work a little bit more on the voice. As humans, we've been hearing voice since we were born, and our ears are mostly adapted, evolved to hear other humans' voices. So if something is wrong with the voice, we hear it very quickly. Let's select the Enhance tab and display the spectrogram for this voice. We can see that the frequencies go a little bit higher than 12,000, but it's not a perfect studio recording. We can also hear a lot of delay, effect, reverb. The voice is heavily processed. Let's run a first model called Singing Upscaler. This is the same architecture as the first model that we used, but it was trained mostly on vocal recordings. This will let us push the quality of the vocal stems just a little bit further. Okay, it has finished running. If we look at the difference between the spectrogram, we can see that this is very subtle, but it did add some frequencies in the low end and the high end. So a little bit of difference, but honestly not by much. But what I wanted to do actually is to remove the reverb of this voice in order to better mix it. What I can do now is to select the restored version right here and then select here remove reverb as a restoration preset. I click on start restoration and just like before, it's gonna create a new version of this stem but without the reverb. Okay, let's listen without the reverb and I will vary between the restored and original version. Y mi mamá mi error, y mi mamá mi error, y mi mamá mi error, y mi mamá mi error garrafal. Quise entregar todo en el amor. Much drier sounding vocal and way more like a studio recording. This is good if you want to add your own reverb, for example in a DAW. What I'm gonna do is not remove completely the reverb, but just lower it a little bit. No estoy para nadie, más que para mi mamá. Yeah, like 70 sounds right to me. Let's listen with all the stems together. So we unsolo and we click play. Si tengo tiempo. Okay, this is cool. To compare with the original version, we can just click on here. We can just click on the top waveform to select the playback as the main playback. And to switch to the stem playback mode, we can select the first stem like this. I like this new mix a lot more. It has more focus on the vocal and we can hear them more clearly. One thing I want to do still is the bass, which I found a little bit weak. So this is like an upright jazz bass. I do not recommend you to use these upscalers on the bass because upscalers generate high frequencies and on the bass we do not have any, but this is normal, it's a bass. If you look at the spectrogram, yeah, it only goes up to like 500. And you can see something similar to what we had in the drums. It starts at a very low bass at around 500 Hertz, and then it gets progressively more noisy with higher picking noises as we go through the song. So for this stem, I'm gonna select a specific preset called Neural Remix. This is using another AI music generation model called ACEStep. You can think of ACEStep like an open source SUNO, and with ACEStep you can use the cover mode, which is very similar to the cover mode in SUNO. However, the results are a little bit different because it's a different model to run on different songs. I'm gonna use the default preset, Start Restoration. Okay, so let's listen. So it has added a lot of white noise. ACEStep is not a perfect model, but I kind of like it. Is it wrong to say? Yeah, it kind of gives it more warmth and kind of gives it back this vintage feeling that we had before. So maybe let's add an EQ.
Y me dices perdido cuando salgas.
Yeah, in this new version, I like the bass much better. Maybe I'm just gonna put the guitar a little bit louder, I think. This sounds pretty good. Let's add a final polish of mastering to shape the tone of all of this. Since the beginning, I've been using this play button right here to play all the stems together. But you can also use the Match EQ and the EQ right here in order to apply effects on all the stems all at once. And in this case, let me check for a Match EQ. Match EQ tries to edit the equalization of your whole song to match a reference. You can upload your own music, but you can also load one of the presets and see how it sounds.
Si tengo tiempo, te volveré a ver porque en el amor, en este tiempo no vale la atención y demostrado amor y te lo digo, este papi chulo, este papi. Ricky vuelve a las andanzas ahora sí. ¿Quieres este pechito? Tienes que pagar y son muy caros para ti, no te alcanzan. Esa en tu cara. Bienvenida a las andanzas ahora sí. ¿Quieres este pechito? Tienes que pagar y son muy caros para ti, no te alcanzan. No, estoy subiendo más que espuma. Ahora toda me voltea a ver y me dice que soy su papi, su rey. Ahora tú me llamas.
Okay, I like this preset a lot. I think it works very good with all the edits that we made, and it really gives it the final touch. To export our final mix, we click on Export. We are in playback mode stems, which is good, and we can render the mix in MP3, WAV, or FLAC. This will generate a file with exactly what you are hearing in stems playback mode. Let's compare between what it was before and what it is now. Feel free to check out Neural Analog. You can try all of these tools on a sample and keep making music. See you soon.
Yo era feliz contigo, vida mía, pero entendí que en el amor pierde el que más da, se lo lleva la chimba. Me dices que soy un buen hombre, no entiendo por qué no te quieres quedar conmigo, valió madre.